I would wish it would be in every grade for kids, because nowadays, if you see it, if you really think about it, since the beginning of the year, you see so many young kids that haven't even lived their life killed or for something so stupid. And now if you see every kid that's 15, 14 are in a gang. Why are you in a gang? You should be in education. If I think this class is not only about, oh, let's act, oh, we're gonna act to get a grade. No, it brings you so much closer to a person than you would actually really think. If you dedicate yourself the way we did, it brings you together and it makes you realize the things in life that aren't worthless and the things that are actually worth your time. There's so much violence in this world that is not even worth it. Like,
hi, I'm Michelle Pauls, and I'm the Managing Artistic Director here at BSP Productions at Walking Fish Theater. And I'm here with my friend and colleague, Hannah Zapatoris McLeod. She is our lead teaching artist here. And Hannah and I are here to talk about our terrific program called Of Mythic Proportions. Right, Hannah?
Yes, Of Mythic Proportions, that we've been running for...
Well, the program's been around for 7 years, and Hannah's been teaching it for...
6 years.
Oh my gosh. Hannah, why don't you just tell a little bit about the program, like what you do?
Well, I go into a classroom at Mariana Brashadi Academy. I work intimately with teacher Kathleen Gaynor, who's the theater teacher there. And one class, I go in and I teach the class, and I organize it so that we do writing prompts and bring the kids' stories to life. We take all the stories that they write over the course of the semester and turn it into a play.
Yeah, and so the program Of Mythic Proportions is a storytelling performance program for teens in Kensington, where teaching artists like Hannah go into a classroom for the entire semester and help the kids take stories from their own lives and transform them into a piece of live theater that they then perform for other students and the community as well. This past year we started something new with the program, an after-school program for some of the kids who weren't involved in the in-school program. So what are some success stories? I mean, we must have had really great success stories in the past 5 years that you've been doing this, Hannah. Can you think of any, like one or two that are really great?
There was a student a few semesters ago. She was very introverted, very quiet, never spoke in class at all. All of her writing she kept to herself. She never shared it. But when it came time to dole out the parts in the play, she learned all her lines before anybody knew everybody else's lines, and actually became this amazing powerhouse on stage. And her own cousin commented on how the whole program had changed her life. She felt like the program had enhanced her as a person. It
really
awesome.
helped change her.
It did. It was awesome to watch. And then we had a few years ago also another student who had been kind of resistant to the process, because it can be hard to write your story and then share it and then turn it into theater. That could become a vulnerable thing. So you do meet resistance, but this student wrote after the whole program was done that he learned that doing things that he didn't necessarily think he wanted to do was still good for him. Oh. So he recognized how it had changed him and brought growth right there. It was it really made me feel good.
It makes me feel good too when I go to the performances at Walking Fish Theater and watch the kids perform, and then we talk about it afterwards with the audience. Many of them are community members.
How do you get them to think about their lives and spill the beans about the stories?
Well, I give them writing prompts that they can choose to write on, and usually they do. And those writing prompts come from yogic concepts, a lot of them.
Like what? Can you give examples?
Compassion and love.
What is love? What is compassion?
I asked, what is justice?
What is justice?
That was a question that was one of our writing prompts. What is age?
Can you tell me, some of the things that come out, like some of the stories that come out from these kids?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's we're in Kensington, so there's a lot of abuse and there's a lot of violence that comes up, but there's also these really wonderful stories. There's a lot of teenage pregnancy that I think this semester is the first semester I've had absolutely no parents in the class that I'm teaching.
Wow.
So it's either there's one, if not three, students who have a child.
Yeah, I remember last year, right? There were like 8 or 10 kids in the semester, and 3 of them were parents.
Yes.
Or 30%. I'm sorry.
It's a lot. It's a lot of kids, and so they're dealing with the things that I myself am dealing with my child.
Right. But you're not a teenager.
I'm not a teenager.
Right.
I'm a grown woman, and these kids are
Right.
they're processing a lot. So a lot of the writing that comes out is, them dealing with these very, very intense things in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But that also gives them this freedom where they can write this stuff, and then we transform it, and
then they can let it go, and then they don't hold on to the anger. We all have anger about injustice and things that happen to us, and what happens if you don't have an outlet for that? You go ahead and perpetuate violence on somebody else.
Absolutely.
So what we do here with our program of Mythic Proportions is to give these kids an outlet, a place where they can let go of that negative energy and turn it into something creative.
Yeah.
What it does is they take their lives, look at it differently, and turn it into a piece of art so it's bigger than what they are and what we all are.
which is what the title of Mythic Proportions kind of comes from, is
Yeah.
this idea that we're all bigger than what we are.
So last year, in January, I can remember that there was some horrific violence that happened in our community. There was shootings and it just so happened that horrific shooting happened like a week or so before the final performance, and some of the student participants knew some of the victims.
I remember, one girl had written about how she felt judged in her neighborhood because she had piercings and tattoos, and so it turned into this really dynamic movement piece where it was being read out loud.
Is that like a dance, you mean?
Yeah, a dance piece where we acted out how she felt, this girl walking through her neighborhood, stepping over the drug addicts, stepping past the people and feeling judged, and had the neighborhood people circling her, and it became like she felt very threatened in her neighborhood, and that was a really dynamic story. And then also the kids did a lot of writing about how they felt in school.
I remember that.
Yeah, and
how they felt safe, unsafe in
or
school.
unsafe. Yeah.
Right.
And it was really big for them to kind of step forward. I felt like it really gave them a voice, to give them that kind of freedom to speak about honestly how they felt about school. And I wanted to stress to them that there was no censorship here, that we were going to allow them to speak their minds and speak how they feel, and some felt safe and some felt unsafe, and they were talking about overall, they live in a neighborhood that's very violent, and it's tragic, and it affects me personally, because these students, I get to know them very well, and I love them all, and they touch me, they touch my heart, they touch my life, every one of them, and to watch them actually transform and blossom forward, it's like, this program changed my life, and it was just so, watching them grow as people and humans, and just develop into these dynamic, powerful people who started out kind of insecure and uncomfortable with the fact that they were teenagers is awesome.
So at B Sunday Productions Walking Fish Theater, our outreach is really important, and Of Mythic Proportions is one way where we can really affect what happens in our community and in our city and in our lives. I mean, I live in our community of Kensington, and what happens there is really important to me and to the young people, because they are going to be our leaders, and that's why we do this program of Mythic Proportions, and I keep going after it and at it and make those kids work hard. And we're having a fundraiser for the program on September 29th at Michael's Decorators. It's at 2214 Frankfurt Avenue in Fishtown. We're going to have lots of food and drinks and raffle items, and some of the kids that Hannah spoke about will be there for Of Mythic Proportions to talk about how this program has changed their lives. And you can see that for yourself if you come on September 29th, 6 to 10 p.m. at Michael's Decorators. And please, if you have any questions, give me a call. The phone number is 215-427-9255, or if you have an internet connection, www.walkingfishtheater.com. Thanks.